A strange new object has entered the inner solar system, and its behaviour has left scientists, engineers, and even congressional leaders asking the same question. Is this a comet or a probe from another star? It's called 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object in history. But what sets this one apart is not just where it came from, but what it just did. Because just days ago, astronomers across multiple continents reported that 3I Atlas brightened by a factor of 5, turned bluer than the sun itself, and most alarmingly, split into multiple parts. Possibly 16 separate pieces, all moving in formation. According to Harvard astrophysicist Dr. Avi Loeb, it may have manoeuvred actively, intelligently, and against the forces of gravity. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why some are calling this the most shocking astronomical event of the decade. So hit that like button if you follow deep space mysteries, subscribe for upcoming telescope updates, and let us know in the comments where in the world you're watching from. Because what's happening with 3I Atlas is unfolding right now. 3I Atlas was first detected in September 2025 by the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, ATLAS, a wide-field survey project operating from Haleakala, Hawaii and Mauna Loa. At first glance, it seemed like just another interstellar visitor, like one ʻOumuamua in 2017 or 2E Borisov in 2019. But scientists quickly noticed something off. Its speed was too high, exceeding 150 kilometers, roughly 3x faster than any Earth-launched rocket. It was nickel-rich, not icy like most comets. And most intriguingly, it had no tail, no comb in the traditional sense, and a weird directional glow. Dr. Gianluca Massi, director of the Virtual Telescope project in Italy, began live-streaming the object in early October. It's faint, fast, and not acting like anything we've catalogued before, he remarked in early updates. At this point, it was still possible to assume this was a new type of asteroid, maybe metallic, maybe fragmented. But then came the solar approach. At precisely 14:52 UTC on October 29th, 3I Atlas reached perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, just 203 million kilometers away, about 1.35 AU. At that point, astronomers expected one of two things. It would brighten if it were an icy comet, due to solar heating and outgassing. Or it would remain dark and inert, as interstellar metallic asteroids often do. But neither happened. Instead, the object's core fractured, not explosively, but quietly and deliberately, over several hours. Using spectral filters from observatories in Chile, South Africa, and Canary Islands, astronomers noticed at least 7 visible jets emanating from its sides. But still no tail, and its colour shifted dramatically into the blue ultraviolet range, bluer than the 5800K black-body radiation curve of our Sun. This was not natural behaviour. Not for a comet, not for anything we've seen in space. Just 1 week after perihelion, the object took centre stage in the public eye. On November 7th, Dr. Avi Loeb appeared on Newsmax TV and dropped a stunning claim. It manoeuvred. Loeb explained that the object's trajectory, brightness increase, and sudden direction changes could not be explained by gravity or outgassing alone. In his words, to account for the observed motion, it would need to eject the equivalent of 5 billion tons of mass in a precisely directed way. But we saw no tail, no debris trail, and the jets are inconsistent with normal comet behaviour. He added that 3I Atlas was bluer than the Sun, which contradicts the behaviour of every known evaporating comet. The implication? Artificial propulsion. Using data from the NASA JPL Horizon system, researchers reconstructed the path of 3I Atlas. Its trajectory was near the ecliptic plane, moving coplanar with the planets, suggesting intentional navigation through the solar system's flattest zone. That alone was suspicious. But even more bizarre, the object's acceleration vectors didn't match the solar wind direction. That means it wasn't being pushed by sunlight or charged particles, it was accelerating perpendicular to known forces. In short, it's moving where it shouldn't, and in ways it shouldn't. This is where Congress gets involved. According to insider sources, Dr. Loeb was invited to brief several US representatives in late November, including Rep. Anna Paulina Luna, known for advocating space transparency. Reportedly, Loeb requested the NASA HiRISE team, responsible for operating the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, to release high-resolution images of 3I Atlas, which had captured the object during a Mars-adjacent flyby on October 28th. But as of this recording, NASA has not released those images. This delay is raising questions. What are they hiding? Did the images show structure? Did they confirm multiple objects? Or is this an international data blackout until the December 19th flyby? Meanwhile, independent observatories keep tracking. Between November 6 and 9, observatories around the world, including Las Vegas, Galileo Project, La Silla, Chile, and Palomar, California, recorded a brightness spike. The object's magnitude increased 5x in under 72 hours. And according to infrared and visible band spectral scans, it didn't just get brighter, it became bluer. Why is that important? Because cometary brightenings typically redshifted, caused by dust and gas reflecting longer wavelengths. A blue shift, on the other hand, indicates higher energy emissions, or a temperature change, but 3I Atlas was still cooler than the Sun, based on its blackbody curve. So where was the extra energy coming from? This leads us to the most bizarre feature yet. Data from spectrographic telescopes at ESO's Very Large Telescope, Chile, and Keck Observatory, Hawaii, revealed something totally unexpected. High nickel content, low iron compared to known asteroids or comets, no signs of silicates or carbon-rich volatiles. This metal signature has a higher melting point and greater reflectivity than typical cometary material. But most importantly, nickel is often used in aerospace alloys, especially in spacecraft designed to endure high temperatures and cosmic radiation. This prompted some theorists to suggest, what if we're not looking at a rock, but a shell, a casing, a vehicle? While speculative, it's consistent with the anomalous behaviour, especially given the next twist in this unfolding story. New imagery captured by the Virtual Telescope project on November 10th showed something disturbing: multiple peaks in light intensity. By performing a Fourier transform of the light curve, scientists identified up to 16 separate reflective surfaces, each moving in slightly different paths. But they were not tumbling randomly. Instead, they were maintaining relative formation, like debris guided by coordinated inertia. This raised an eerie possibility. Either 3I Atlas broke apart into geometrically precise pieces, against all known physics, or it deployed components as part of a controlled release. This concept of multiple modules mirrors what Loeb suggested in his paper on ʻOumuamua years ago, that interstellar probes might arrive as clusters, with parts designed for different observational tasks. Now we may be seeing that play out in real time. On December 19th, 2025, 3I Atlas will make its closest pass to Earth, within 6 days of Christmas. And for a brief moment, telescopes from every major observatory, from Hubble to James Webb, from Green Bank Radio Observatory to Pan-STARRS, will be trained on this object. That's when we may finally learn, is it natural or technological? Will it fragment further? Will any part change trajectory? Will it emit radio signals? Dr. Avi Loeb has already submitted a radar window request to Arecibo's successor in China and a signal sweep request to the Allen Telescope Array. If it emits anything structured, a binary pulse, a repeating frequency, or a Doppler-shifted beacon, then the entire world will have to reckon with a new reality. Because then, for the first time, we may have direct proof that we are not alone. As 3I Atlas continues its journey through our solar system, astronomers and astrophysicists are grappling with a crucial question. What's driving this object? Its bizarre trajectory, with sudden acceleration and seemingly impossible maneuvers, has ignited heated debates in the scientific community. But to understand the true nature of this object, we must delve into the physical evidence. Let's revisit the basics of what we know so far. First, the object's acceleration is unlike anything we've seen before. It's not following the expected gravitational path of a typical asteroid or comet. Normally, objects like 3I Atlas would simply follow Keplerian orbits around the Sun, governed by gravity. But this object is accelerating in ways that defy simple Newtonian mechanics. Let's break down the data. Non-gravitational acceleration. This is the first clue that something is off. The object is speeding up without any visible reason for doing so. Speed. It's moving at a mind-boggling 150 kilometers, roughly 3 times faster than the fastest Earth-launched rocket. Trajectory. Instead of a smooth elliptical orbit, its path is distorted. It doesn't just curve around the sun in a predictable fashion. Instead, the object seems to be making turns, sharp ones, against the gravitational pull of the sun. How could an object, even one with the mass of 4 to 5 kilometers in diameter, defy the basic principles of physics? To explain this phenomenon, we need to get into some specific measurements. We know from data provided by NASA JPL's Horizons system that 3I Atlas has been exhibiting anomalous acceleration vectors. This means that its direction of travel is not solely influenced by the sun's gravity, but instead is being influenced by another factor. And then there's the mass loss paradox. Observations indicate that the object is losing roughly 10–20% of its mass during this acceleration. But here's the kicker. It's not ejecting any significant debris. No tail, no outgassing, no cometary fluff. Normally, when an object like this accelerates, the laws of physics say that it should shed particles, dust, gas, or other materials, as it gets closer to the sun. The solar radiation should cause it to evaporate, forming a coma and tail. But with 3I Atlas, there's nothing. This should be physically impossible for a natural object, and yet it's happening in front of our eyes. So if it's not just a comet or asteroid, what else could it be? Let's go back to Dr. Avi Loeb's controversial statement. It maneuvered. Dr. Loeb has been one of the most vocal advocates for the idea that 3I Atlas may not be natural at all. He believes that it could be a fragmented alien probe, a device sent from another star system. Loeb's theory is bolstered by a peculiar hypothesis that we've seen before in his work on ʻOumuamua. Loeb speculates that the behaviour we are witnessing may be the result of intentional propulsion systems, technology capable of deliberately steering objects in space. Here's the key point in his theory. For an object to manoeuvre in space, it would need a controlled thrust mechanism, something beyond the natural forces of the sun or gravity. Loeb isn't the only one suggesting this. In fact, several other experts have begun to entertain the possibility that 3I Atlas is a deliberate interstellar object, rather than a natural one. What if 3I Atlas isn't just a random space rock, but a highly sophisticated, artificial object? Some experts point to the lack of tail and outgassing, coupled with its sharp acceleration, as evidence that this object isn't just following gravitational physics, instead it's doing something more. It's manoeuvring through space in a way that would require artificial intervention. But here's the scientific rub. The object's brightness increase, 5 times brighter in just 3 days, doesn't add up with the notion that this is a purely metallic fragment. Comets, especially those made of rock and ice, typically show an increase in brightness due to solar heating and volatiles escaping their surfaces. But this object didn't do that. It brightened without the expected release of gas or ice. Instead, it acted like a machine, not a natural body. So what's going on here? Could 3I Atlas actually be a sentient or controlled probe, a relic of another civilization? And if that's the case, why send a probe like this to our solar system? As if things weren't strange enough, a new theory has emerged suggesting that the timing of 3I Atlas's appearance may not be entirely coincidental. Some researchers are now linking 3I Atlas to the famous WOW signal, detected in 1977 by the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio. The WOW signal was a brief, unexplained radio burst from space, lasting just 72 seconds. But it was so powerful that it led some to speculate that it might have been a signal from an alien civilization. 3I Atlas is currently travelling within 9 degrees of the WOW signal's origin point, located in the constellation Sagittarius. This has led some to wonder, could 3I Atlas be part of a greater, long-term interstellar message or probe network? The idea that these objects are connected adds yet another layer of intrigue. Perhaps 3I Atlas isn't just an interstellar wanderer. It could be part of a cosmic communication system. Let's return to the puzzling jets observed on 3I Atlas. 7 jets have been recorded by various telescopes. Normally, comets exhibit jets as they approach the sun, due to solar radiation causing sublimation of volatile materials like water, carbon dioxide, or methane. But 3I Atlas is cooler than the sun. Its blackbody temperature is below 5800 K, far cooler than any typical comet, and still jets are emanating from its surface. The most baffling part: these jets are not cometary. There is no visible debris, no signs of typical outgassing. If it's not natural gas and ice escaping, what could it be? Some have suggested that these jets could be powered by an internal propulsion mechanism, using highly advanced technology to eject mass in a controlled fashion. Others propose that the jets might be a form of energy transmission, perhaps even directed energy. As 3I Atlas draws closer to Earth, the mystery deepens. And the clock is ticking. We're now weeks away from its closest approach to Earth, set for December 19th, 2025. That's when scientists will finally have the opportunity to examine the object with high-resolution optical and radar instruments. Will 3I Atlas fragment further, releasing new, smaller bodies? Or will it remain intact and continue its journey through the solar system? The object's path and behaviour suggest that more discoveries are imminent. As scientists prepare for the December 19th flyby, one thing is clear: this is just the beginning. If 3I Atlas shows signs of further fragmentation or emits structured signals, it will rock our understanding of space exploration, physics, and alien technology. For now, we wait. The countdown has begun. Stay tuned. The most mind-blowing discoveries are just ahead. As the mystery of 3I Atlas continues to unfold, we must address the elephant in the room. Is it possible that this object is not natural, but a technological probe sent by an advanced civilization? This idea was first introduced by Dr. Avi Loeb, the Harvard astrophysicist, who has been vocal about the possibility that 3I Atlas could be a deliberate interstellar object. Loeb has argued that its highly unusual behaviour, including its manoeuvring, lack of tail, and sudden acceleration, is consistent with the idea of artificial propulsion. But how realistic is this theory? Could a technologically advanced civilization send a probe from another star system? And if so, why would it be here now? In considering the possibility that 3I Atlas is a probe, we need to envision what such an object might look like. The most compelling evidence in favour of the probe hypothesis is the absence of tail and outgassing. Comets typically form tails as they approach the Sun because they are composed of volatile compounds like water, methane, and carbon dioxide, which vaporize when heated. This process produces the characteristic coma and tail of a comet. But 3I Atlas is not behaving like a comet at all. Despite its proximity to the Sun, it has no visible tail, no coma, and no sign of the expected gas sublimation. Instead, it appears to be propelled by some form of internal energy source, rather than outgassing from its surface. This type of controlled propulsion is not seen in natural objects. One possibility is that 3I Atlas is a spacefaring probe, designed to navigate space using directed energy or advanced propulsion technology. Rather than relying on the natural forces of the Sun or gravitational slingshots, the object might be using an internal system to adjust its trajectory and speed. What kind of technology could explain this? Consider the possibility of directed energy propulsion, a concept that has been explored in both theoretical physics and science fiction. Directed energy refers to the use of energy, typically in the form of lasers, microwaves, or plasma jets, to create thrust. Could 3I Atlas be using a form of laser-driven propulsion? Such systems could potentially harness energy from nearby stars, enabling an object to accelerate without shedding any debris or emitting gases. This would explain the lack of tail and blue colour shift, as directed energy sources can produce light emissions across a broader spectrum, including the blue ultraviolet range. Moreover, the fact that 3I Atlas is accelerating at a non-gravitational rate could suggest that it is not bound by traditional physics. Instead, it could be using a form of energy that is beyond the standard propulsion methods we know, possibly harnessing advanced technologies from another civilization. The idea that 3I Atlas could be an alien probe is not entirely new. When the first interstellar object, ʻOumuamua, passed through the solar system in 2017, it displayed strange behaviour that baffled astronomers. Like 3I Atlas, ʻOumuamua exhibited unexpected acceleration and unusual shape, which led some scientists, including Loeb, to propose that it could be a probe sent by an alien civilization. Loeb's work on ʻOumuamua was met with controversy. Many scientists rejected the idea, claiming that the object's behavior could be explained by natural phenomena, like the outgassing of volatile materials. However, Loeb's theory persisted, and now with 3I Atlas, he has a new case to present. According to Loeb, 3I Atlas could be a technological fragment from a larger probe or satellite, perhaps an ancient sentient object designed to explore interstellar space. He's also suggested that it might be part of a network of probes deployed in different star systems with the purpose of gathering data. But if this is true, why is it just arriving now? Is it possible that 3I Atlas was deliberately placed on a trajectory toward Earth, or is it simply a cosmic coincidence? One of the most perplexing aspects of 3I Atlas is its timing. The object's current path brings it dangerously close to Earth's orbit, with its closest approach set for December 19th, 2025, just days before Christmas. This makes scientists and conspiracy theorists alike wonder, why has it arrived now? Could it be that the probe is deliberately seeking us out? Or is this just an unintended encounter? The fact that 3I Atlas is passing through the plane of the solar system at a high speed and with such a curious acceleration curve suggests that it may not just be an ordinary interstellar object passing through. It could be a deliberate arrival, with its trajectory calculated to take it near Earth for some purpose, whether it's a scientific observation, a signal transmission, or even a message. There's an intriguing connection between 3I Atlas and the famous WOW signal of 1977. The WOW signal was a radio signal detected by the Big Ear radio telescope in Ohio, which lasted for 72 seconds. It was an unusually strong and narrowband radio emission, which led many to speculate that it could have been an attempt at communication from an alien civilization. Now, 3I Atlas is travelling near the origin point of the WOW signal, a region of the sky in the Sagittarius constellation. In fact, it's within 9 degrees of the signal's point of origin. Could this be a coincidence? Or is it possible that 3I Atlas is part of some larger interstellar message, intended to reach humanity through the passing of multiple objects, with each carrying its own fragment of a larger story? The proximity to the WOW signal has led some to speculate that 3I Atlas might be the next step in a long-term cosmic communication system, where objects like this are sent to us as signals, perhaps a precursor to something greater. But even if this is the case, the real question remains, what are they trying to tell us? As 3I Atlas continues to approach Earth, global collaboration among observatories and space agencies is intensifying. The Galileo project, which was founded by Dr. Loeb, has been at the forefront of collecting observational data on 3I Atlas. In particular, the Las Vegas Observatory, which is part of Loeb's project, has been crucial in tracking the object's movements. But the NASA, JPL and ESA are also working tirelessly to provide data from their extensive tracking systems, including Horizons and the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. These agencies have not yet released high-resolution images, but the hope is that the upcoming December 19th pass will give us definitive answers. In addition, the Virtual Telescope project in Italy has been providing live broadcasts and updates on the object, allowing the public to participate in this once-in-a-lifetime event. This collaborative effort, involving scientific institutions and government bodies, shows the growing recognition of the importance of 3I Atlas. With each passing day, the mystery deepens, and the world eagerly awaits the close approach of 3I Atlas. December 19th, 2025 will be the defining moment when high-resolution imaging and radar scans will determine if this object is a comet, an asteroid, a technological probe, or something else entirely. What we find on that date could change everything we know about interstellar objects, space exploration, and the possibility of alien technology. One thing is for sure, the countdown to discovery has officially begun. As we approach the historic December 19th, 2025 flyby, the global scientific community is divided. And tensions are rising. On one side are those calling for caution, astronomers and astrophysicists who urge us not to jump to conclusions. They argue that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and that all known anomalies could, somehow, be explained by physics we just don't fully understand yet. On the other side, experts like Dr. Avi Loeb, leading the Galileo project, say the data speaks for itself. In his latest Harvard blog post, Loeb wrote, "You can't dismiss an object's behaviour just because you don't have a ready theory. That's not science, that's denial." Loeb isn't alone. More independent researchers, particularly from the fields of astroengineering, non-terrestrial propulsion, and deep space signal processing, are starting to align with his view that 3I Atlas may not be a natural object. The world watches as the line between skepticism and discovery blurs. Let's break down the specific anomalies. The things that flat out shouldn't be happening according to every model of known celestial behaviour. Brightness increased x5 in just 3 days, without a tail or gas emission. Colour shifted to bluer than the sun, without increasing in temperature. Nickel-rich composition, with low iron, unlike any known comet or asteroid. No silicate dust, no carbon volatiles, no water detected. Acceleration equivalent to ejecting 5 billion tonnes of mass, with no visible exhaust. Speed of 150 kilometres, far exceeding gravitational expectations. Travelling within the ecliptic plane as if targeting planetary systems. And finally, the most recent mystery, spectrographic data from the James Webb Space Telescope just released, shows that 3I Atlas's jets are not ejecting particles at all, but possibly emitting polarized light in a repeating pulse, something more akin to a signal than a physical reaction. To put it simply, nature doesn't do this, not like this. The 7 visible jets observed from 3I Atlas may hold the key to understanding what this object truly is. In the past 2 weeks, spectropolarimetric analysis performed at Keck Observatory, Hawaii, revealed that the jets are emitting light with an unexpected polarization pattern. A spiral, repeating formation that suggests coherent structure, not chaos. Even more stunning, the pulses show signs of modulation, changing subtly over time with a recurring frequency every 22 minutes. This is not how natural jets behave. It resembles something very different. Controlled emissions. Potential encoded signals. Intentional variability. The astrophysics term for such emissions is quasi-periodic oscillation. It has only ever been associated with black holes or neutron stars, certainly not comets. Could this be a message? A status ping? A navigation system? No one knows yet. But radio arrays across the globe, including Allen Telescope Array, FAST, China, and Greenbank, are now listening. Let's talk about the most visual anomaly, the fact that 3I Atlas appears to have split into as many as 16 parts. Fragmentation in space isn't rare, but when it happens naturally, it looks like chaos, random trajectories, tumbling debris, and radiation pressure pushing pieces apart unpredictably. But in this case, the 16 fragments of 3I Atlas appear to be travelling in formation, maintaining relative distance, and adjusting position with precision. Astronomers using ESA's Gaia Observatory and Hubble Space Telescope have reported that at least 4 of the objects are showing matched motion curves, an unmistakable sign of coordination. So what does that imply? It could be a modular probe, deploying sensors or subcomponents. It could be a multi-body surveillance device, observing planets as it passes. It could even be a delivery system, dropping dormant components into planetary orbit. Let's be clear, these are all speculative ideas, but they are growing harder to dismiss as coincidence. With the data so contradictory to natural models, more scientists are exploring fringe possibilities. Here are some of the most prominent alternate theories gaining traction online and in peer-review preprints. Technological debris. 3I Atlas is a broken or discarded piece of a larger machine drifting through space, possibly once part of a larger alien structure. Dormant beacon. The object is a passive interstellar beacon, activating as it passes systems with intelligent life. Scientific probe, like our Voyager or Pioneer missions, but from elsewhere. Self-replicating system, a fragment of a von Neumann probe, capable of replicating or seeding data throughout the galaxy. Message capsule, a slow-moving, data-rich vessel, travelling light years over millennia, perhaps even meant to be discovered. And finally, the most controversial, silent gatekeeper. 3I Atlas isn't observing us, it's watching for something else. Maybe it's a deterrent. Maybe it's a beacon. Maybe it's a lock on a door we haven't yet seen. If 3I Atlas is not natural, if it is in fact some form of technological visitor, we must ask, what message does it carry, even in silence? This might not be a radio broadcast, a blinking light, or a Morse code style signal. It might be a gesture, a trajectory, a presence. Perhaps the fact that we can detect it at all, that it comes close enough, bright enough, and weird enough, is the message. A warning? A test? Or a quiet hello? Could this be first contact? Not through words, but through physics, precision, and mystery. As December 19th approaches, telescopes are locking on. Radar is warming up. Scientists are preparing final flight path models. If there's anything more to this object, we will know very soon. Here's what scientists will be looking for during the closest approach: high-resolution imaging. Will we see structure, panels, geometry, radar return echo? Will it reflect like metal or rock? Spectral scan for volatiles. Are there any signs of water, carbon, or gases? Signal detection. Will the periodic pulses continue or change? Fragment trajectory mapping. Do the pieces adjust their own paths? Response to Earth proximity. Will the object change behavior as it nears us? These 6 metrics may determine whether this is a comet, a rock, or a relic of intelligence. On December 19th, 3I. Atlas will be visible from southern hemisphere observatories, and some parts of the northern hemisphere, low on the horizon near the constellation Capricornus. Using tools like Skylive, Stellarium, and NASA's eyes on the solar system, you can track its position in real time. Major observatories expected to publish findings within 48 hours include James Webb Space Telescope, Green Bank Radio Observatory, Very Large Array, New Mexico, Fast Radio Telescope, China, European Space Agency's Gaia Galileo Project's Las Vegas Station, and, of course, keep an eye on Harvard and Dr. Loeb's next announcement. Maybe we're not the observers this time. Maybe, for once, we're the observed. As 3I Atlas moves through our solar system, dropping fragments, bending light, and emitting silent pulses, we face a new kind of challenge. Not, are we alone? But, what happens when something notices we're here? Is this the first whisper of another civilization? Or simply a natural rock with strange tricks? Either way, the coming days could define a turning point in our relationship with the cosmos. If you want to follow this story as it continues to unfold, subscribe now. Turn on notifications, because we'll be covering the December 19th flyby image releases from NASA and ESA radar scan results, new statements from Avi Loeb, and potentially Congress. What do you think we'll discover? Is this a comet, a probe, a message? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Let's figure out this mystery together. This is 3I Atlas, and we may never look at the night sky the same way again.